Imagine this. You're in a job interview, and there's one question that trips up even people who nailed everything else. Pause. And then they ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? A typical meeting room, lights, chair, a glass of water no one touches. The person across from you with that face, the one that's supposed to look open, but reveal absolutely nothing. You've already gone through everything. Your experience, your work, your strengths, and your weaknesses, presented in that careful way where weakness sounds like a controlled flaw. And now, this. At first, it seems like a normal question about the future, ambition, direction. But the problem is, it almost never means what it sounds like. Because technically they're asking about your future. But in reality, they're asking how well your future fits into their idea of order. You say, I see myself moving up. And that's enough. You're no longer just a candidate. Now you're someone who plans to move, and movement is risk. Not growth itself, but the fact that you have your own trajectory. And that's not always seen as a positive. Sometimes, it's seen as a future problem. So you soften it. I see myself in a leadership position. And now it gets awkward, because you've just placed yourself inside someone else's hierarchy. If the person across from you is a manager, you've basically hinted that one day you might want their seat, even if you didn't mean it that way. Okay, softer. I see myself growing within my field. Sounds perfect. And that's exactly the problem. It doesn't mean much, because it's an answer that can't make anyone uncomfortable, which means it's no longer really about you. And this is where it gets interesting. This question isn't really about 5 years, it's about packaging, about whether you can describe your future in a way that sounds ambitious enough but not threatening. Let's say you're more honest. In 5 years, I'd like to build something of my own. And that's where it breaks, because now you're no longer an investment. You're temporary. Someone who'll come in, learn, take what they can, and leave, and suddenly investing in you feels inconvenient. Okay, then this. I just want a stable, normal job. And somehow, that's the worst answer. Not ambitious enough, not impressive enough, not future-oriented enough. Even though, realistically, it's the most grounded answer there is. And that's when it becomes clear. This question doesn't test whether you have a future. It tests how comfortable your future is for them right now. Not too high, so it's not threatening. Not too different, so it doesn't look temporary. Not too independent, so it's not inconvenient. Not too simple, so it doesn't feel empty. If you simplify it all the way, if you want to move up, you're risky. If you want your own thing, you're temporary. If you want stability, you're not ambitious enough. If you don't know, you're lost. If you know too clearly, you're difficult. The ideal candidate here is almost impossible. Someone with a future, but not too much of their own. With ambition, but no threat. With growth, but within someone else's comfort zone. With a dream, edited just enough to fit neatly into a corporate slide deck. And maybe the most honest answer would sound something like this. I want to grow enough to be more valuable to you, but not so much that I become a problem. Because in interviews, they're often not looking for a plan, not a dream, but a version of the future that feels convenient. One where you're promising enough to invest in, but not independent enough to walk away. And that leaves one question. If your honest answer sounds too independent and the right answer sounds too artificial, then what exactly counts as a good answer?